Welcome back to Pride Park. The atmosphere building very, very nicely for the 39th FA Women's Cup final. It's Arsenal against Sunderland, teams in the tunnel. And Sue Smith, you know what it's like to play in these cup finals. You know what it's like to play against Arsenal. What is the mindset of Arsenal compared to Sunderland? I mean, vastly different experience.
Of course, yeah. You know, Arsenal are they're obviously an experienced team. They're used to playing in these sort of occasions, and I think they'll just go out there and obviously just play how they normally play. Sunderland, I just pray that they don't freeze. You know, it's a massive occasion for them, and hopefully, because they're young, they'll just enjoy the whole experience. But yeah, I think the mindset's going to be completely different, and hopefully it'll be a great game.
I noticed some of the girls taking photographs of each other outside the Sunderland dressing room. Is there a fear of a rabbit in the headlight syndrome here today?
Well, that's what we hope is not going to happen. You know, and I'm sure Mick, the manager's prepared them right, and he's told them what to expect, and I'm sure they've watched this on the TV, you know, numerous occasions. So a lot of them playing in, you know, for England under 19s, under 20s, so they'll be used to similar sorts of occasions. So hopefully that won't happen. But like I say, Arsenal are used to this occasion, and they'll just be taking it all in their stride.
Okay, well, a big crowd here for this cup final. One very interested onlooker, and let's be honest, he's certainly pride of the park at the moment. He's with Ned.
Well, Nigel, this makes a bit of a change, doesn't it? You're a neutral for the day and just watch on and enjoy the spectacle.
Yes, definitely. Not quite neutral with being born in Sunderland, and I'm going to be supporting Sunderland today.
So you're going to be a Sunderland fan for the day, and I believe your daughter plays a bit of football as well, so obviously runs in the family, carrying on the tradition.
Yeah, she was not too keen until recently, and she just started every chance we get, she wants to kick a ball about in the garden, so I'm not sure why that's come about.
You'll have seen a bit of women's football in the past. I mean, for those who are watching it for the first time, it's a proper game, isn't it? Played in the right way.
It is, and I think it's much improved over the last few years. This is the first game I've seen live, seen a few on television, so we're looking forward to it.
Thanks very much, Nigel. Enjoy the day.
Pleasure.
Well, the teams lined up on this wonderful playing surface here at Pride Park. It is, of course, the hopeful 10-timers against the hopeful first-timers, Arsenal against Sunderland. So let's join our commentators for the first time today, Lucy Ward and John Champion.
Yes, all set for the grandest occasion in the women's football calendar in this country, and Pride Park full of people, enthusiasm and expectation. It is, with respect to Sunderland, the case of the mighty against the minnows. Arsenal, the most successful team in the history of the women's game. Sunderland making their very first appearance in this showpiece. Arsenal having lost several significant players to the new American Professional League, but those that remain include 9 full internationals, the iconic Rachel Yankee among them. Watch out for playmaker Kim Little. England captain Faye White, still recovering from serious injury, is available from the bench. Sunderland have 1 full England international, but Kelly McDougall won all her caps before joining the club. However, they have a good number of junior internationals, 3 of them just 16 years of age. The youngest of all is Jordan Nobbs. There's also Sophie Halliday, who makes only her 2nd career start because regular defender Gemma Wilson is suspended. The presentation party completing their duties. Ray Kiddell, chairman of the FA Women's Committee. Barry Bright, the vice chairman of the Football Association National Game Board. Don Leaper, the managing director of E.ON Energy Services, and Mrs. Sue Huff, vice chair of the FA Women's Committee. Innovative pricing of tickets today has drawn a large crowd, just £5 for adults, £2.50 for the many, many children. Busloads have come down from the northeast, also up the M1 from North London, and they're expecting 25,000 people inside Pride Park for what will be the end of an era. Vic Akers, the man who founded Arsenal Ladies in 1987, on the touchline for the last time today before retirement. Sunderland for the FA Women's Cup, sponsored by E.ON, and kick-off is next.
Bringing families and football together.
Wickes timber decking is slow grown for 80 years, which means it's less inclined to split or twist. It's got our name on it. Wickes.
New from Burger King, the taste of Texas with a touch of Mexican spice. The Texican Whopper. To understand it, you must try it.
When your car insurance is due, you want to check that you're not paying too much, don't you?
But how many prices do you check? 2 companies? 3? 4?
When you visit GoCompare.com, you can compare the prices from more car insurance companies than any other comparison website.
Tell them what you want to include, and the 5-star rating system will help you choose the policy that's right for you.
So, if you're looking to save money on your car insurance, go compare at GoCompare.com.
Why go compare anywhere else?
Don't you hate being misled? Gigantic burger. I was expecting something at least the size of my head. Get the body you've always dreamed of. Really? How do you know what kind of bodies I would dream of? The funniest film of the decade? I doubt it's even the funniest film about a goat this decade.
It's not you, it's me.
And the guy you're sleeping with at work. Just give it to me straight. Like a pear cider that's made from 100% pears.
The only fruit that goes into a Magnus pear cider is pear.
Strong athletic build.
Magnus pear cider, 100% pear, 0% disappointment.
Audi TDI technology uses fuel with such precision. Hardly a drop is wasted. The new, more fuel-efficient Audis.
Eon, bringing families and football together.
Well, to put this cup final in some sort of perspective, one needs to appreciate that Arsenal are a fully integrated and funded part of the Arsenal Football Club. Sunderland, an entirely voluntary organisation whose players raise money by packing bags at the local supermarket checkout. The referee, a Slovakian now resident in Shrewsbury, Sasha Iringova, who is also an assistant referee in the Football League. Rachel Yankee, perhaps the best known of the Arsenal names, the average age of the Arsenal team 25. Demi Stokes, part of a Sunderland lineup, average age 19 and a half. Pride Park all set. Arsenal, the 9 times winners, who've held the cup for the last 3 seasons. Sunderland in blue, occurring in their first ever final in the women's game. And this is Gemma Davison, England under-23 international, bursting forward for Arsenal. Kim Little's in support, Vicky Greenwell clears. And this is Natalie Guttridge. They have a pair of prolific strikers. Usually they play as a front two. Number 9 there, Sophie Williams, next to Guttridge. Between them, 54 goals this season. Our summariser today, Lucy Ward, who played in the cup final for Leeds against Arsenal 3 years ago. Lucy, I wonder, is this going to be as one-sided as some neutral observers have suggested?
I hope not. I mean, you know, Arsenal are a fantastic side, as we all know, but Sunderland, you know, there'll be a danger. They're a hard-working team. It's just whether they can play the game and not the occasion, as you say, and just get on with it. But you know, there's a few young players who have international experience in Sunderland's ranks, and youngsters don't have any fear, and they've got to go for it, and that's my advice to them.
Ludlow, forward to Gemma Davison. Ludlow, who is skippering Arsenal in the absence of Faye White, who's undergone 2 cruciate knee ligament operations now and is on the bench today. This is Jordan Nobbs, youngest player on the pitch at just 16 and 5 months.
I think it's a crucial part, this first 10 minutes, John, that Sunderland steady themselves, defend well and don't concede, because, you know, it'll be a taste of things to come if Arsenal score in the first sort of 10 or 15 minutes.
Lee Fahy, back to Gilly Flaherty, and back to Emma Byrne, the long-serving goalkeeper for Arsenal ladies. Arsenal serial winners, 30 trophies in their 22 seasons. Suzanne Grant impeded. And that was an interesting selection, Lucy. Suzanne Grant and not Helen Lander up front for the Gunners.
Yeah, I think Vic was in two minds. I mean, both excellent players, and Helen Lander has been playing. She's a prolific scorer when she moved from Watford, but obviously it's blunt for Suzanne Grant, who has the international experience as well, so perhaps that was the reason.
Well, Rachel Yankee is going to swing this free kick in. Arsenal with 4 inside the box. That'll be a corner.
Yeah, it was a good ball in from Rachel Yankee there. And like I said before, it's important. Sunderland have to get first to this ball, and you know that it's a teasing cross in. And I'm not sure that whether that was a corner. That looked like it came from an Arsenal player, but Sunderland put under pressure quite early on.
Well, Arsenal have certainly done their homework on Sunderland, and Sunderland vice versa. Little's corner. Helen Alderson got just enough on it. Alderson, certainly the busier of the two keepers in the early stages.
Should be quite pleased with that. He kicks straight down the throat from that corner. But you know, both Arsenal and Sunderland will be nervous in this occasion. You know, the Arsenal are missing a few top players, and you know, people have come in to cover for them.
There's only 4 of those who start for Arsenal today began last year's cup final against Leeds Carnegie. And they have an early chance here for a goal. Helen Alderson is stranded and very relieved as the ball from Suzanne Grant dribbles wide of the post.
I think every Sunderland fan then was watching with bated breath. It looked to me like it was going to go in. I mean, that's an excellent through ball and just wide of the post.
Alderson certainly left exposed by a makeshift back 4 in front of her. Sunderland very disappointed that arguably their most experienced defender, Jamie Wilson, is suspended today after a controversial dismissal against Leicester recently. Rick Akers, the mastermind of all the success for Arsenal ladies. This is Greenwell for Sunderland.
That's a terrific turn as a centre half there. I quite like that one, and she obviously is pretty confident coming into this game.
Medlow forward to Suzanne Grant. There are 2 Grants in the Arsenal team. Kira's playing at the back. They're not related. This is Gemma Davison. It's a good run. Yankees on her blocks to her left. Davison goes alone. And Sunderland under significant early pressure.
Absolutely, and a young player playing at left back for Sunderland, Halliday. I mean, she's got Gemma Davison against who you can see there is a powerful runner. She's very, very quick, and you know, and luckily for Sunderland, she didn't get the shot off.
Gilly Flaherty has made the clearance as Jordan Nobbs made a run from midfield. And Father Keith was a professional with Hartlepool.
She's a great prospect as well, John. Excellent player.
Little. Now Yankee capped 88 times by England. Davison for Fahy. Gemma Davison. Suzanne Grant, not quite.
Good build-up play by Arsenal there. You see, you get Yankee on the ball and give Rachel Yankee that sort of room and she'll run at you. But good ball in by Nife. Just couldn't get a head onto it, but you know, it could have gone in the far post then as well. Didn't have to keep an eye on it. Well done, Gemma Davison.
Voice of Lucy Ward of Leeds Carnegie, who has scored for Arsenal in a cup final.
It's only taken you 6 minutes to mention it, John. I appreciate that.
An own goal after about this amount of the final of 2006. It's the last time we'll mention it.
Yeah, okay. My mum actually did say that nobody will remember in the future who you scored for, and I said, well, it was 5-0 to Arsenal, Mum, so they probably will have a good idea. It was a good header, actually, if anybody's seen it.
Well, with time comes less pain from the memories and the introduction of a bit of humour.
Until you reminded me, obviously.
This is Davison. Began the game on the right. She and Yankee have swapped flanks for the time being. He says the ball was taken, not the player. This is Sophie Williams, Sunderland's leading scorer. Laura Bassett. Suzanne Grant. Steps Lucy Bronze. Back from Stokes. England have already accounted for 2 top division teams in the FA Cup, Bristol Academy in the quarter-final, and then, more surprisingly, Chelsea in the semi. They beat them 3-0 at the Stadium of Light.
Yeah, they did really well. I mean, against to beat Chelsea, and they played at the Stadium of Light, and that sort of atmosphere, and it was an excellent result. So they're no mugs, John, and and they'll put up a fight here this afternoon.
Natalie Guttridge. 7 of these Sunderland players, teenagers, 3 of them just 16 years of age. Train twice a week. Play their home games in Hetton-le-Hole, best known in footballing terms. It's the birthplace of Bob Paisley.
Quite a lot of these Sunderland players are involved in the England programme as well, John, which means that they will train most days and be involved in a weights programme, etc. So, they do have that sort of experience in terms of training, but not much experience compared to Arsenal in terms of playing these sorts of games.
3 of their number were away in Hungary last week, playing for the England under-19s with some success. They are helped, if not financially supported, by Sunderland Football Club. To the extent of providing their kit and a home ground. And today, the Sunderland team bus as well to bring them to the ground. This is Davison. Chance for a shot.
Yeah, I think you'll find that Gemma Davison will be a threat. Like I said before, she's very, very quick and she can get behind players. And she's getting her eye in at the moment, and that was on target. She's going to get closer as the game proceeds.
Clearance by Alderson is chased by Nobbs. Doherty with an unceremonious clearance.
If in doubt.
Stanford. Again, it's Flaherty. She's found the same spot.
Somebody she doesn't like in the crowd, I think.
Lucy Staniforth. Distributed quickly by Emma Byrne. And now Yankees on her way. Sarah Grant and Little through the middle. Steph Bannon with a poorly timed challenge. And Sasha Illingova issuing a warning.
I think it's a challenge that Steph had to make. And the last thing you want is Yankee running at you with full speed, and she had to bring it down because she was approaching the penalty area.
Niamh Fahey. No power on the header from Suzanne Grant that time.
Yeah, Arsenal are threatening, but not sort of putting that much pressure on Helen Alderson in the Sunderland goal, but it's going to come, and I think Sunderland have got to settle into the game, and luckily for them, they've not conceded yet, so they can build on that start.
Yankee. This is an Arsenal team shorn of the stellar talents of Kelly Smith. And with Alex Scott, Karen Carney have made their way off to the American Women's Professional League. Kelly Smith is the first ever Player of the Month in that league. Suzanne Grant. Adura. This is Guttridge. Jordan Nobbs has made a run. Flaherty could have cleared. That won't count as a back pass.
I mean, Sunderland are getting there, they're getting in possession of the ball in Arsenal's half of the pitch, and that's what we want to get to see for a good game. To see how Arsenal do cope without the players that they've lost, and in addition to that you've got Julie Fleeting who's pregnant, and then you've got Mary who retired at the start of the season and losing Leanne Sanderson and Anita Santi. It's a massive part of their squad over the last few years, and you know whether they can cope with it. They've struggled a little bit in the league and let Everton get closer, but see how they cope today.
Davison with a decent ball through. Suzanne Grant keeps it alive for Kim Little. After you with the clearance, eventually it's Bronze. And Gutteridge has won a Sunderland throw.
I mean, having played in this and having done something like I did in the first few minutes, it is very, very difficult to get. I mean, the first thing is the noise. Women's football is not usually played in front of the crowd, so you talk to your teammate and you can't actually hear each other, and that's something people don't think about, and something that Arsenal are used to.
This is Sophie Williams. Flaherty was there. There's Nobbs. Sunderland.
Absolutely, and that'll settle a few nerves, I think. I mean, that was a good ball down the left, and an excellent ball in by Williams there, and she just couldn't get the shot away, could Nobbs there, and that would have been a good start for Sunderland, and probably made the game a little bit more exciting for the neutral.
That would have spoiled a few betting coupons, wouldn't it? Very much an up-and-coming force in the women's game, Jordan Nobbs.
I spoke to the manager of Sunderland, Mick, and he was talking about Jordan, and you know he reckons she'd go all the way to the senior team in the years to come, and you know that's high expectation of women's football at this time. There's a lot of good young players coming through.
Both these sides actively pursuing the championship in their respective leagues. Arsenal need to beat Everton in their last game. Sophie Williams, the Sunderland team who need to win their last two to gain promotion back to the Women's Premier League.
Absolutely, and that's a real thing that they want to go for. You've got to get into the top league in women's football, and that's where Sunderland want to be. Again, Sophie Williams gets on the ball, and she's a prolific scorer for them, so the more she gets on the ball, obviously the better for Sunderland.
This is Gutteridge, Williams' partner. There's the Sunderland manager, Mick Mulhern, the heart and soul of that particular club. Season ticket holder at the Stadium of Light. Pretty down about those matters at the moment. He wasn't able to go to the game yesterday because of preparations for this. Suzanne Grant, and Arsenal have a corner.
This is what Sunderland want to try and avoid, Johnny, putting themselves under pressure. And, you know, Arsenal, I mean, Yanka's going to take the corner, she's going to put a good ball in, and it again puts the Sunderland defence under pressure, especially when you're a little bit nervous at the start of the game, you know, and hopefully they can clear. Arsenal will be looking to capitalise on their dominance at the start of this game.
Suzanne Grant is right in front of the goalkeeper, Alderson, blocking her progress off her line. Grant is a little further back. Davison. Kim Little.
Yeah, the first we've seen properly of Kim Little in this game, and you know I've played against her numerous times, and she's an excellent young player. And obviously, you see from there that she can strike from distance. I think this game will be won and lost in the midfield, and you look at the experience of Arsenal, you know, compared to the experience of Sunderland, and you know players like Kim Little are going to probably be the difference between the two teams.
So this competition down to the last two sides, having swung into action way back on the 7th of September with 114 teams in the preliminary round.
think that shows how big women's football has got in this country at the moment. And, you know, there's teams like this, like Sunderland, you can get to the final when you're not in the top division and do well and beat good teams along the way.
There are as many rounds in this competition as there are in the men's equivalent. Game's not quite as one-sided as some of those preliminary round ties. Hereford Phoenix 14, Tipton Town 0. Welbeck Welfare of Mansfield 14, Marlborough Rovers 1.
That was close. Yeah, that was close to that game.
There was an 18-0, but I didn't want to embarrass anyone by mentioning the teams involved. Sophie Williams, Kelly McDougall.
Seen as much as Jane Ludlow as we usually do by this stage in a cup final. The number 4 for Arsenal is the Welsh captain, very dominant, very athletic, and she gets up and down the pitch and gets on the ball, and not so much in this opening segment, so watch out Sunderland.
Davison. It's McDougall. Lucy Bronze. Captain Steph Bannon, whose mum, Susan, is the very efficient secretary of Sunderland. It's a family affair. The goalkeeper, Helen Alderson's father, is the club chairman. Davison. It's opening up for Gemma Davison.
Davison is just getting a little bit too much time on the ball for me at the edge of that area. She didn't even really need a speed there. She needs to be closed down a lot quicker. She's getting closer. She tested Helen Alderson a little bit more that time, and that's not good for the Sunderland defence. They need to get a little bit tighter.
And Sunderland busy defensively, but holding their own so far. And we can hear from their manager, Mick Mulhern, who's down on the touchline with Ned.
That's right, John. I think, Mick, you'll be reasonably happy with what you've seen so far from your team.
Yeah, I'm really pleased. Actually, I expected an early onslaught from Arsenal, and that's what happened. But we saw that out, and now we've just got to stay in the game as long as possible. And you know, we'll get our chance to play shortly, I hope. But we're doing well. I'm pleased.
And it's not as if you haven't offered up a threat as well. 1 or 2 shots on goal already going their way.
We've done all right. Obviously, the girls haven't got any fear, and that's a good thing. We just got to keep building on that and keep building on that, and obviously.
And how important was beating Chelsea to get this far in terms of their confidence, mate?
Oh, that's fantastic to beat a club as good as Chelsea, and that's obviously what the girls believe in themselves. They believe they can actually win today. I think that's half the battle. You've got to come and play Arsenal and really believe you can do it, otherwise there's no point in turning up.
Well, so far so good. Thanks very much for talking to us, mate. Cheers.
Mick Mulhern, who's been in charge of Sunderland Women's Football Club since its inception in 1999. He's a detective at the Northumbria Police by day.
That's a secret, John.
It was.
He's absolutely right about playing Arsenal. If you turn up, loads of teams will turn up to play Arsenal, whether it's in the league or the cup, and not believe that they can win. And you have to come with the attitude that you're going to create chances, you're going to score, and you put pressure on the Arsenal back four, and you have a chance. And we've done it with Leeds, and you know they've got to believe Sunderland.
Davison. Kim Little again. Suzanne Grant. Oh, and Alderson got a touch. And that was enough to buy time for the defender on the line.
Yeah, Suzanne Grant is getting herself into some great position. Great run there and good ball by Kim Little. And it was agonisingly going over the line, and Steph Bannon did well there. And it rebounded off Yankee for a Sunderland goal kick, when it could have easily gone in the goal, so good let off for Sunderland. Excellent goal line clearance. Should be happy with that.
This game has to be settled today. Extra time and penalties if necessary. Only one of the previous 38 finals has ever gone that far. Kim Little. Kelly McDougall. Sophie Halliday. His fourth appearance for Sophie Halliday today. It's quite an ask of the 16-year-old at left back. He is the main beneficiary of Wilson's suspension.
I think you usually find though, John, when they're young like that, they don't have any fear of what's happening. They don't sort of underestimate the occasion and stuff, and they just go and play the normal game. And that'll be good for Sunderland if she can do that, and the other 16-year-olds in the team.
To see Pride Park so full, so well attended. Aiming for a crowd of 25,000, which is round about what they got along the Brian Clough Way at Nottingham Forest for last year's showpiece. This is Stokes, famous cup final name. Katie Chapman. Now Niamh Fahy. Vicky Greenwell. Kira Grant. A number of these Arsenal players, long-term understudies to the big names who've now departed. Davison, she falls into that category. Most to Halliday. And then Bassett is a little slack. Sophie Williams. Whacked it against Kira Grant.
Yeah, that's the difference between the two teams. When Sunderland are attacking, there's not many players around the play with the ball. When Arsenal, they've just got options in numbers, and at the moment that's the difference between the two sides.
Little. Ludlow scored in the final the last two seasons. Rachel Yankee. Pushed away by Alderson, and luck was with her in where it fell.
Yeah, it's definitely the only place you could have found it off to that didn't have an Arsenal player stood in it.
Well, not long to wait for the next live football on ITV. Arsenal against Manchester United in the second leg of their Champions League semi-final tomorrow. The build-up ITV4 from 7, the match itself ITV1 from 7:30. And also make a note of next Sunday at 6:30 on ITV4, when we'll have highlights of the semi-finals of rugby's Guinness Premiership. As of yesterday, rugby union, a sport that's now embraced the concept of the penalty shootout. Too strong for Guttridge. Claimed by Byrne. Yankee. It's Greenwell. Straight back once it came. And this time Yankee earns a corner.
The Arsenal pressure is building, but Sunderland have established themselves in this game now, John, and I think they need to now take a few risks going forwards and commit the players forward, because they're creating opportunities and they're getting into those positions, but they're not having many players around to sort of put them away.
Little degree of uncertainty whenever the ball comes in the air towards Helen Alderson, but that one she clutched. Greenwell. All of the Sunderland players in education of some form or another, or in placements as trainee teachers. Nick Akers, who technically has one more game in charge, the league decider at Everton next week, but in fact his other job is that of kitman to the Arsenal men, and he'll be needed for the game the same afternoon against Chelsea at the Emirates.
Vic will be gutted about missing that. That'll be the title decider, and he'll be a big loss to the ladies team. He's an ever-present fixture on that sideline and gives good information and lots of experience in the game.
Former professional himself, Cambridge and Watford back in the 1970s.
I actually didn't recognise him today because he didn't have his shorts on. He has his shorts on whether it's minus 20 or 70 degrees, and he's got his suit on today, so it must be a special occasion.
I think probably fair to say he's got his shorts on under the suit.
I did ask him that, and he said yes, and I think he was serious, to be honest.
Yankee. Fahy. Bronze, Jordan Nobbs, Kenny Stokes. Most of these Sunderland players produced by the Centre of Excellence, which is funded in part by the FA. Davison. Chance here. The chances keep coming, and most of them are coming Arsenal's way.
Yeah, they do, John, but I mean, the ball fell there to give it far too much time. You cannot have that much time in the box. You've got to get closer and force her in to make a decision. Do you shoot or do you pass it? And I think Greenwell has got to get tighter, get to the ball quick and then decide. I think it worked in Sunderland's favour because she had too much time to think about it in the end rather than getting a shot off. But again, under pressure from the corner.
Yankee short to Suzanne Grant. Down goes Yankee, and the referee's assistant effectively gives that.
I'm not too sure about that, but again a dangerous position.
Sarah Garrett doing that far touchline. Kira Grant with the header, and Jane Ludlow was arriving late.
I don't think Sunderland were ready for the quickness of that free kick, and there was a player stood offside there, and I don't think Ludlow was, but originally there was, but obviously not interfering with play stood in the 6-yard box, but there you go.
200 career goals plus for Jane Ludlow from central midfield.
She's shouting at everybody else for that missed diving header. Only joking. You've joined us late. You're watching the FA Women's Cup Final, sponsored by E.ON, contested by Arsenal ladies and Sunderland women. Arsenal the strongest of favourites, and credit to Sunderland for keeping it goalless so far. Rachel Yankee, Kim Little, Suzanne Grant is unmarked. Suzanne Grant had the chance, and her first touch was heavy, and Bronze was able to clear. It's the story of the game so far. The ball enters the box at an Arsenal player. The Sunderland need to get to the ball quicker, and again I think it was Kim Little. She had too much touch. She turned and she still had too much time, and it's a little bit rushed and a little bit nerve-wracking with the Sunderland defenders, but eventually away for a corner.
Yankee. Goalkeeper comes and makes a good claim.
Well done, Helen Alderson. That was a good take and give her confidence.
Guttridge. Yankee. Well, should we give her credit and say she knew what she was doing?
Yeah, I think she used Suzanne Grant to get a goal kick. I think that's what I'm saying. But again, this is can the keeper hear the right back? Can the right back hear the keeper? And it is literally like that. These Sunderland players are not used to playing in front of a crowd, and one of them is hearing your teammates shout. But they need to be a little bit more confident than that and trust each other a little more.
They're used to playing in front of at most 100 at the Hetton Centre, their home ground. Arsenal get a few more than that at Boreham Wood, Meadow Park, where they play the majority of their home fixtures. Davison caught late, was she, by Stokes? Referee saw it, didn't think so. Kira Grant. This is Laura Bassett, signed from Birmingham last summer. Greenwell. Halliday's won the throw. Arsenal so far unable to add to their amazing tally of 160 goals this season. Maybe now. It's Davison. Oh, spilled! Opening goal, Katie Chapman. Really unfortunate for the Sunderland goalkeeper, who's been busy. There have been suggestions of an error or two, and one now has cost the Minnows as mighty Arsenal lead.
Yeah, again, Gemma Davison picks it up and gets tighter. She skips past the defender and she gets a shot off. But you've got to close down afterwards the defender. You've got to be one of the first to the ball when it comes back off your keeper. And Sunderland weren't, and it left Katie Chapman with quite an easy strike into goal.
3 times a cup winner already, Katie Chapman. Uniquely with 3 different clubs. She got a brace in round 4 against Colchester, and now the opening goal of the 2009 final.
Yeah, I think you have to say that it's deserving of Arsenal to take the lead, but probably not under those circumstances. They need to defend a lot better.
And Sunderland will be kicking themselves for conceding such a soft goal.
Absolutely, they've defended well in parts, but they've not got close. It was always coming. But if you're going to concede, you want to concede by a well-worked goal rather than something that you could easily prevent.
Instructions from Mick Mulhern issued to Lucy Staniforth, who's carried the message onto the pitch. Now can Sunderland find an immediate reply to Steph Bannon? Flags up for offside.
Yeah, it could have been a better ball in, I think, as well. The ball will sort of test just behind that line of defenders, but Arsenal have got some big players, Ludlow, Grant, Kate Chapman, who can head the ball, and Sunderland are not the tallest of teams.
Pursues that, out comes Emma Byrne, first foray outside her box. Oh, and Staniforth with a crunching challenge on Ludlow.
That's 2 great challenges. It's brilliant.
A special moment for Katie Chapman, a mother of 2. Proud mother of Harvey and Riley. And a role model, really.
Absolutely, I mean, she was back playing with him. He was crazy. Looking exactly the same, or probably even fitter.
That's it, it did look like a hand, and it's been given. Halliday.
I think that's a little bit too harsh. Ball to hand, she had her hands out. She was a little bit close to the ball as it was crossed across, but the assistant referee's given it, and again, Sunderland are under pressure.
The routine by now, it'll be Yankee to take it. Chapman was in there, so was Ludlow. Alderson able to catch.
I've been watched Arsenal over the last few years since I've been playing, and they do miss the likes of Kelly Smith, somebody who can just spark the game into life and do something special. I mean, they're all very excellent players on the Arsenal team, but Kelly had that little bit extra, and losing her is a big loss to Arsenal. And even from this game, they have not got that spark that perhaps Kim Little needs to drive that mantle forward and grab the initiative.
Yankee. Yankee tries alone, that struck Greenwell. Stokes with half clearance. Yankee, and now Chapman. Davison. Held off by Bronze. Nobbs.
It's good defending by Lucy Bronze there, and she held her own against a quicker player, and it's Sunderland need to use that and use men to go forward and maintain the discipline. And what I mean by that is a discipline in the shape and maintain the shape and keep competing in the middle. They're only 1-0 down, they're still in the game, and they need to start going forward and trying to create chances.
That's the youngest player on the pitch, Jordan Nobbs. Enthusiasm in these parts for this occasion. Derby County have entered into the spirit of it, delighted to stage this Women's Cup final. Another marquee occasion for a ground that has been Derby County's home of the last 12 years. It staged a full England international back in 2001 against Mexico. Laura Bassett, Suzanne Grant, uncertainty from Bannon, seized upon by Gemma Davison. Davison spotted Yankee but couldn't find her.
Yeah, I mean, she did well to get the ball to the defender, but wrong decision really. Yankee was in acres of space, she needed to have slid along the floor.
Davison, Little, and now Nobbs for Sunderland. Williams took it away from Gutteridge.
Kelly McDougall was free in the middle there, just a slid ball across. I think Sunderland need to play with a little bit more belief that they actually can play and they can create chances, and some of them are, but not all of them are, and I think they need all 11 to have that belief that they can score against Arsenal and beat them.
Frustration for Demi Stokes. Jane Ludlow. You mentioned Kelly Smith a moment ago, Lucy. She remains Arsenal's top scorer this season, even though she departed for America more than 2 months ago. Said farewell with a hat-trick in the League Cup final against Doncaster.
Yeah, and she'll probably be the league's top scorer by the end of the season as well, because she's that much more far and away better than anybody who's played in this country. And you know, and like I say, Arsenal miss her just like the league misses her. But that's America's game.
Yes, Boston Breakers in particular in New England. It's McDougall. It's not falling for Sunderland at the moment.
I don't know if Sophie Williams had gambled there that the ball was sort of spinning back and put Emma Byrne under a bit of pressure, but you know, that just a little bit more belief and a little bit more positive going forward and try and create those chances.
Sunderland have been besieged by goodwill messages. Some well-known footballing figures as well. One of them actually here to watch today, Dave Watson, the former England centre-back who lined up in the 1973 Men's FA Cup final. Sunderland's finest, fairly recent hour. Mick Mulhern, the manager, went in for a cup of tea with Neil Bailey, the Sunderland men's first-team coach, the other day for a chat about potential tactics. This is Yankee. Davison. Staniford took a blow to the face there. Yankee. Little. Block was by McDougall. And now Sophie Halliday.
Another thing about this pitch, John, is it's huge, you know, and then the occasion, and if you're not used to playing on a pitch this big, and you know, physically it will get to the girls. Let's see which team it gets to first.
There's Yankee, and it was just too strong for Katie Chapman. He was the scorer of the only goal so far after 32 minutes.
Yeah, Katie Chapman, quite an unassuming person off the pitch, and she's an absolute animal, and she'll let me say that on the pitch, and still quite unassuming as well on it. And silent assassin, I think they call her. Excellent player.
Come on then, what's she done to you in the past? She's obviously sliced you in half or something.
She slices everybody in half.
Chapman. Yankee occupying the touchline. That's a goal kick.
Yes, it's the first one of the mistake that Yankees made all half, and she's done well. So delivery's been good, and she's got round players and got the crosses in. She just wanted to boot that, but it's the first one, so we'll let her on.
Your Leeds teammate, our colleague today, Sue Smith, too modest to mention that in fact she is the player who has deprived Rachel Yankee of England's starting place after so many years. But Katie Chapman is the person at the centre of the focus at the moment for her goal.
Yeah, I think Sue's obviously worked hard she's paid me for this, by the way, I'm reading it off the script. She's worked hard the last sort of 4 or 5 years to get that number 11 shirt back, and I don't think she's going to give it up easy. But two great players, and it's just unfortunate one of them's not right-footed. They play on the other wing.
We'll be hearing the views of Sue Smith with Craig Doyle at half-time. It's a nice turn by Little, and a good ball as well, and a chance for a second for Arsenal, but Suzanne Grant has spurned it.
Absolutely, a great play by Kim Little. Again, you can see the quality there. Excellent turn and a little ball through. Not offside. Suzanne Grant, excellent runs she's making, but she's just not got that finished product yet.
Two Scots combining.
I don't know whether she could have taken a touch then and had a look where she was going to put it. She tried to do it first time and a little bit non-committal, really.
Suzanne Grant joined the club only in February from Hibs. In fact, she's commuting from Glasgow on a weekly basis at the moment, which is not the easiest of existences for her. Mrs. Davison had a lively half. Greenwell got a foot in. Jane Ludlow steadies herself and fires over the bar. Not by that much.
Yeah, great strike by Jane. Just getting herself into the game a little bit more. She's better when she's on the edge of the opposition's penalty area and doing things like that. Not too far away.
Yet to register her customary cup final goal, Jane Ludlow.
She's just greedy, to be fair.
McDougall.
Sunderland have got to try and get their forwards as high up the pitch as possible, because when Sunderland are getting it, they're playing the longer ball and the forwards are just not there. I think if Kutcher plays a little bit further forward, she can pick those balls up, and she can play well with the back to play as well, the number 10 for Sunderland. An interesting choice of hairstyle. It's a long time since I've seen somebody play with their hair down like that.
She's the exception rather than the rule.
She's got a good excuse for injury in her eyes if she misses them.
Play broken up by McDougall. This is Guttridge. Not short of self-belief.
So it's a lone striker there with two at the side of you. You've got to get things like throw-ins and things like that, and she's doing well, and I think she'll grow in confidence as the game progresses.
Greenwell.
It's another example of it there. Sophie Williams is just 5 or 10 yards behind play. She'd have been further up, then she'd have got hold of the ball a little bit earlier and put the back four of Arsenal under pressure.
Yankee couldn't take it quite within her stride.
Yeah, lucky by Yankee there.
Sunderland will soon be retreating to the home dressing room. They lost the toss, the use of their regular kit. The arrangement was that they could have the home facilities here. Very luxurious they are too.
And I think they'll be pleased if they end up going at half-time at just the one goal down as well. The Arsenal's dominance has been that they could have been 2 or 3 goals further up, but have not finished those chances. Sunderland are still in the game.
The game which has now reached its midway point.